Today I'm going to do a video about what it's like to live in rural South Korea. I was placed here, Cheorwon County, which is the northernmost county in South Korea. So I'm right below the demilitarized zone, right below North Korea. I didn't choose to come here. When I applied with Epic, they told me that I was coming here the first day that I arrived in Korea. So I really wasn't really sure what to expect, so it really didn't make a difference to me. I just knew that I wasn't going to be in a big city and I didn't know what to expect. And now 10 months later, I'm still here. I still have a few more months here, but I'm just going to go through what it's been like for me living here. Just right off the bat, you can kind of tell I'm standing here at this river place. I figured I'd shoot here just because it's a little bit more colorful. But there's not a lot in rural cities. The expat community is very small here. So I can count on two hands how many people are expats in this county. I think there's one other teacher that lives right below me who's my good friend. And then besides that, there's about 8 expats that are all English teachers who were placed here. Usually not by choice, usually you're just placed here with Epic. So I don't think anybody requested to live here, but it just happened to be where they placed us when we signed up for the job. So the expat community is very small, and that could be a disadvantage to some people who like to be very social, or if you just like to have a bigger supportive community. There's not a lot of that here, so it could be kind of rough. The second thing that I don't like about living in this area is that there's very limited Western food options, which means that most of the restaurants here and the grocery stores, they only carry Korean food. And you can't really expect too much because there's not any foreigners here, so there's really no need for them to cater to foreigners. But it does suck for me, someone who likes to eat all different types of food. On the weekends or whenever I get the chance, I go to Seoul and I kind of get my cravings out of the way on those weekends that I'm able to visit more Western establishments that serve different types of food besides Korean. So it is a treasure find if I do ever find anything that is Western here. Besides Domino's Pizza, which opened up a few months ago, we don't really have a lot of Western food options here. It's mainly Korean barbecue and traditional Korean food. So it is difficult if you don't know how to cook and you get cravings. Luckily for me, I do experiment in the kitchen quite a bit, and I'm able to curb some of my cravings through getting stuff through the foreign food market in Seoul, or I could order stuff on iHerb.com, which also ships some foreign foods to my door. But other than that, there's just not a lot. So if you can't cook and you crave Western food, it is extremely difficult and you will become homesick for food back home. Another thing is there's just few recreational things to do out here. There's not a lot to do. I mean, besides just taking in maybe the mountain backdrop and going on long walks or hiking or just reading, watching movies, there's just not a lot to do out here. If you don't speak Korean, it could be difficult here, but I've made it by okay. I know the very basic survival Korean phrases and terms, and I think if you're someone who's really trying to immerse yourself into the culture, then it would be great. As far as myself, I haven't been very good about learning Korean just because I don't have a lot of willpower to do it on my own, and there's no resources here that will allow me to go and take classes. I would have to travel over 2 hours if I wanted to take Korean classes in person. So that's another thing to consider. It is difficult. I haven't picked up the language like I thought I would. I can listen and kind of understand the gist of maybe what they're trying to say to me, but for the most part, English is still my language, and I can't expect everyone to speak English, but I would just like you to know that a lot of people here don't speak English like in bigger cities like Seoul or Busan. You usually can find someone who's able to speak English or understand you. Here, it's a different story. There's more pointing and trying to maybe using your phone and Google Translate to try to get them to understand what you want or what you need. And also, a lot of people ask me if there are any subway stations out here, and there are not. There's only buses that run here. So in order to get to Seoul or other cities, I generally take an inner city bus. It's about a 7-minute walk from my apartment, but there are no train stations here. So I have gotten very familiar with the bus system in Korea to figure out what time to get on, and usually there's a bus every hour, so it's not so bad, but there are no train stations here. I have to say that the winter months in a town like this is pretty difficult for a foreigner, just because it can get very lonely and you could feel very isolated. I try to combat that by hanging out with my friends here and you know, just kind of inviting myself over to their place or inviting them over for dinners and meals. But if you're a person that likes to be social, it can be very difficult adjusting in a town like this. You will be spending a lot of time on your own. And if you're a person that's not comfortable being alone a lot, it's very, very hard to adjust living in a rural city. It's hard even if you lived in your own native country, much less a foreign country, and not being able to speak the language and fully adjust. There are days when I'm not sure how to deal with it, but I'm making it through and only have a few more months here, so I'll be okay. But some people don't adjust very well here, and if you're not the type that likes being alone or doesn't like their alone time and constantly have to be around people, around events, or be in a city that's kind of poppin' and has a lot going on, it's going to be really difficult living in rural South Korea. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, these are just my experiences living in Cheorwon County for the last 10 months. I know it's different for everybody, and I by no means expect the people in the city to cater to me because I'm a foreigner, but it has been difficult for me on some occasions, and I've adjusted pretty well. I think the hardest part is behind me. But if you were ever wondering what it's like to live in a foreign city, especially South Korea, getting placed here with EPIC, the English program in Korea, then I hope this gives you a better idea of what to expect coming here, and maybe not knowing exactly where they're going to put you for your teaching or job assignment. Thumbs up if this video was helpful, and look out for more of my videos. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!